Hello guys, I'm back with another reading today, and we're getting pretty close to the end. This is our second to last reading, so I want to thank everyone who's been reading with me and staying along and keeping up with us. And now we're going to get into the reading. And last time, we ended on page 149. And that's where we found him. That should have been the end of the night, but it wasn't. When we got back to the room, we found out that Manny had pocketed one of the baby turtle while no one was looking, so Dad had to bring it all the way back to the beach to set it free. I guess Mom wasn't too happy with the way our family vacation was going so far, because after birth she said she was going to take a spa day. That sounded like a great idea to me, and I told Mom I was going to tag along. I've always wanted to get a massage, and I figured this was my big chance. But Mom said she needed time to herself and the rest of us were on our own. That meant we had to watch Manny. Once Mom left, the three of us tried to figure out what to do. Manny was too much to handle, so I suggested we just drop him off at the Tyler's cabana and let the people who work there deal with him. Dad liked that idea because he said he wanted to get in a workout at the gym. He told me and Roger we were responsible for getting Manny to the Tyler's cabana, and then he left. The path took us right past the wall that separated our half from the wild side. I guess some kids were trying to get a peek at what was over there, but the landscapers put a stop to it. I asked Roger what he thought was on the other side, and he said he already knew. He said some of his friends in the teen zone told him that all sorts of crazy stuff goes on over there, and there's even a beach where people sunbathe without any clothes on. He said there's a hole in the wall, and if you look through it, you can see the other side. Because I knew Roger was just trying to trick me, because he told me this kind of thing before. One summer, we were at the town pool. He told me that if I peeked over the cinder block wall, I could see into the ladies' locker room. Well, I believed him, and I've been trying to erase that image from my mind ever since. We brought Manny to the toddler's cabana, and the kids inside were making puppies. I told the person in charge we were dropping our little brother off for the day, and we'd be back later. The counselor said the only requirement for a drop roll was that the kid was potty trained, and I told him that Manny was. But Manny must really not have wanted to make puppies because he got himself out of it. Roderick said I had to watch Manny by myself because he was going to go check out the activities in the teen zone, but I know he was just going there to meet up with that girl. I was not happy that I got stuck with Manny. I didn't want to take him to the beach because he just start collecting pets again. So I took him to the pirate play place, which was a splash zone for little kids. It was actually perfect because I could relax on a lounge chair and keep an eye on Manny while he played. I even ordered a grilled cheese sandwich and some french fries from a waiter who came by. But I wasn't able to enjoy my meals. Some kids on the miniature pirate ship figured out that if they bought one of the water cannons, they could make the other one shoot twice as far. So I had to move to the lounge chair that was farther away. But when I sat down, I realized I had lost track of Manny. I eventually spotted him in the middle of the wading pool, all by himself. I knew I had to go in there and get him, but I really didn't want to. With the number of little kids in the pool, I knew exactly what was in that water. When I was little, I used to be in the baby pool all the time. In fact, there's a framed photo of me in the family room using the pool as a potty. Mom said it's her favorite picture of me because I look so happy, but I've never told her why. One summer, they put some chemical in the pool that turned green if anyone peed, so that put an end to that. Okay, guys, let's try to focus this right quick. Okay. I needed to figure out a way to get Manny without touching the water, so I found a raft and a pool noodle and paddled out to him. But I only made it halfway across when a bunch of little kids decided it would be fun to climb onto my raft. I tried fighting them off with the noodle, but there were just too many of them. Then they teamed up to flip me over. I got Manny out of the pool and then spent 20 minutes scrubbing every inch of my body in the outdoor shower. But 5 seconds after I finished drying off, I was wet again. The kids in the pirate ship figured out that if they plugged two cannons, they would get some serious range. While I was drying off a second time, we bumped into Mom, and after a morning at the spa, she seemed like a whole new person. She said that while she was getting her massage, she came up with a great idea for how we could spend time as a family. She booked a private cruise for all of us. She said the boat was going to be at the dock in half an hour. That wasn't a lot of time, so we had to split up to track down Dad and Roger. I told Mom that Dad was at the gym, so she went there to get him. I found Roger exactly where I expected to, and believe me, he owes me for not letting Mom get to him first. We met Mom and Dad down at the dock. Dad wasn't too happy with Mom because apparently this boat cost a lot of money to rent, but Mom said it was worth it because this cruise was going to be the highlight of our trip. When I hear the word cruise, I think of a yacht or at least a souped up sailboat. But the boat that Mom rented didn't look like anything special. The boat came with its own captain, so I guess there was something. When we got on board, he handed us all life jackets, and after we put them on, we pulled away from the dock. The first thing I noticed was that the boat had a glass bottom, which was not comfortable at all. The boat didn't look like it was in such great shape to begin with, so I was worried the glass was going to crack and we were all going to sink to the bottom of the sea. In fact, if I had to guess, I bet 50% of all shipwrecks are glass bottom boats just like the one we were on. Once we got out on the ocean, the captain asked Mom where she wanted to go. The captain said there were some private islands we could explore, and Mom said we should go to one of those. But it turned out the private islands weren't really private, so we didn't bother sticking around. That meant we had to go into the actual ocean with all the other stuff swimming around in there, so I wasn't in love with that idea. But nobody else seemed concerned. Hmm. Okay. The captain wasn't finished though. He said there were a bunch of other things we needed to look out for. Then he showed us what everything looked like on a big chart. There was some scary stuff on that thing, but it wasn't the biggest creature that freaked me out. It was the smallest one, and that was the box jellyfish. I saw this show called World's Most Venomous Creatures, and they had the jellyfish at the top of the list. If you get stung by one, your heart can stop, and then you're pretty much finished. I told Mom I didn't think it was worth risking death just to see a goldfish in the wild. I think she could tell I was worried, but she wouldn't let me off the hook that easy. She said I just needed to get in the water long enough to take one family picture and then I could get back in the boat. Mom still wanted that photo for the Christmas card, and I could tell she wasn't going to take no for an answer. I told Mom I'd be staying in just long enough for one picture, and if someone blinked, that was just tough luck. She agreed, and then we got in the water one by one. I was the last person in. The captain couldn't figure out how to work Mom's camera, and he was taking forever. I really didn't like the feeling of not knowing what was swimming underneath me, so I took a peek underwater, and I'm glad I did because it was actually kind of amazing. I can see why people like snorkeling and scuba diving so much. A big school of blue and green fish surrounded me, and the fish were darting all over the place, changing direction 2 times a second. At first, I thought it was cool, but then I realized that this is how men behave when they're trying to avoid a predator. I didn't see any sharks underwater, so I started scanning the surface with fins. The captain finally figured out my mom's camera and was ready to take our picture, but I was already swimming for the boat. Just then, a seahorse swam right in front of my mast, and it surprised me. My snorkel dipped beneath the circles, and I accidentally took a huge gulp of water, and I'm 95% sure that I swallowed the seahorse along with it. Now I was in full-blown panic. I think I might have actually drowned if the captain hadn't pulled me up into the boat. Once I was on board, I coughed up a lot of water but no seahorses. Mom climbed aboard to find out what was wrong so she could see I wasn't looking so good. And she told the captain we should go back to the resort so I could get checked out by a doctor. After everybody else climbed in, we headed back. The ride was really choppy and if I hadn't already been sick, that would have done it. We made good time and the captain dropped us off at the dock. He had already called ahead to the resort's doctor who was waiting for us. When I told him what had happened, I thought for sure he was going to send me to the nearest hospital to get my stomach x-rayed. But he checked me out and said I seemed okay. Then he told me it wasn't very likely I swallowed the seahorse and I'd be perfectly fine. I really didn't like how casual this guy was being about the whole thing. In fact, he seemed a lot more concerned with mom and dad than he did with me. The doctor took a look at them and said, it looked like they were seasick. Then he gave them each a pill and said they'd feel better after they got a little rest. All I can say is, if anything happens to me later on, I hope this doctor knows he had a chance to do something about it, but didn't. Mom and Dad found a few empty lounge chairs by the pool and we sat down to rest. But then the director of fun came through with a conga line and he tried to get us to join. He couldn't take a hint though and kept circling our area, but he stopped cold when he noticed something in Manny's pail. It looked to me like a clear patch of bag floating in the water, but the director of fun lifted the pail to take a closer look. It turned out it wasn't a plastic bag at all. It was a jellyfish. Not just any jellyfish. It was a box jellyfish. The director of fun ran to the nearest lifeguard who started blowing her whistle. Then all the other lifeguards started blowing theirs. And you have never seen so many people get out of a pool so fast. My family decided it might be a good idea for us to get out of there too. On our way back to the room, we noticed that Roger wasn't with us. Mom thought he probably snuck off to hang out with that girl. But when we went to the teen zone, he wasn't there. That's when we realized nobody had seen Roger in a while. In fact, I didn't remember him being on a boat ride back from the reef, and neither did Mom or Dad. That meant he was still out there. So we ran back to the dock as fast as we could. Our boat was already out on another trip, but Mom talked to the guy who operated the banana boat and told him what happened. We climbed on the board the speedboat and he took us to the reef. Sure enough, we found Roger exactly where we left him. He was alive, but he was as red as a lobster. When we got back to the resort, the doctor said Roger had sun poisoning and needed to drink lots of water and get some rest. Then he gave Mom a bottle of aloe to help Roger with his burn. But the aloe didn't really seem to help Roger. Mom sent Dad to the store to find something that would. And we spent the rest of the night taking turns rubbing popsicles on Roger's back. Okay guys, this is gonna end it for today. And thank you guys for coming again, once again, and listening to me and cooperating. And next week will be our finale. Thank you guys. Bye bye.